what you bring also be accepted by me. But he warned Cain. He said, sin is at the door, and it waits for you. It wants you. It wants to take you. But you have the power not to let that happen. And we find that Cain was jealous of his brother Abel. The first sign of jealousy was in Genesis. The second place we find jealousy is also in the book of Genesis, and it's in the 30th chapter. We find just take a moment to get there real quick. I thought I had them set it out, but it's okay. We find that Jacob was told by his father not to take a wife from the land of Canaan, but to go to his relatives and get a wife. And he did that. And he went to Laban. And he did find a woman that he loved with all his being, so much that he worked 14 years to acquire her. Her name was Rachel. He was deceived, though, because he was not given the woman, the wife that he had worked for initially. He was given her sister Leah. Leah was not loved. Not in the way Rachel was loved. And God saw that, and he blessed Leah with children. And in the 30th chapter it says, when Rachel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children, she became jealous. And she said to her husband Jacob, give me children, or I'll die. And Jacob responded to her. He was angry. It says he was angry when he responded. And he said, am I in the place of God who has kept you from bearing children? Now Rachel's jealousy led her to give her husband her handmaid, her servant, and said, you're going to bear children one way or another. I am going to be a mother. And if I can't have children, then you're going to have them through my handmaid. And we all know that she gave him her servant, and she did bear children. She had sons through him. And Leah then became jealous and ended up giving her handservant to Jacob to wife. And so jealousy produced a battle between the sisters. And we find that also in the book of Genesis. Rachel was finally blessed and her womb was opened because God heard her tears. He heard her cry. And she bore Jacob a son, Joseph. Now the Word of God says Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other children. So much so that he made him a coat of many colors, an ornate coat, beautiful piece of garment. Now all of his other brothers had to see this happening. They seen this coat. They seen the Father love him more than he loved them. It wasn't something Joseph himself did to cause them an issue to not like him. It was the love of his Father for this child, because this child was the child from the wife he loved. He had such a special place in Jacob's heart. And that jealousy became more pronounced when God gave Joseph a vision. He gave him a vision of what he intended for his children, because he knew what was going to happen in the land, and he was making preparation for the children of Israel to not only be safe, but to prosper and flourish in the land. And we find that the jealousy of his brothers towards him was so intense that they made a plan to kill him. Why did they want to kill him? Because he told them what God had shown him. He told them that God showed him they were going to bow before him. That's like adding insult to injury. They were already upset with him because the Father loved him so much more than he loved them. Now you're telling us we're going to bow before you? So they planned a plan against him.